The darkness wrapped around your home like a heavy blanket, pressing in with an eerie stillness. You could almost feel the shadows alive, whispering secrets meant for no one's ears. Imagine being the child in this story, drifting in purity, unaware of the storm brewing just outside. What if the very air you breathe carries whispers of a sinister intent? What if your path isn't just a personal journey but a spiritual awakening, lurking just beyond your grasp? As dawn creeps in, will you stand ready to face the truths waiting for you just beyond the horizon? Last darkness, a woman stepped onto your property, a second darkness of her ominous vigil. It wasn't a casual stroll or a random purpose she carried with her. No, her presence was much darker, cloaked in a shadow you can't quite see. I, the divine guide, perceive all. Nothing escapes my gaze. She brought not affection, not serenity, but the unsettling aura of chaos. My dear one, I don't intend to rattle your heart. I seek to ignite it. There's a tempest of forces at play in the spiritual plane, and you're at the center of it. Listen closely. Every tiny event in your tangible world has its roots entwined in the spiritual realm. This woman, she was not guided by my light. Her footsteps were steered by a darkness meant to derail you from the divine pathway I've set. She's returned, intent sharper than before. Something has shifted. You're not just any child. You carry a mark, a seal of protection from me. Yet, this blessing brings responsibility, and it draws the gaze of dark forces lurking in the shadows. What did she leave behind? It wasn't her mere presence that mattered. It was what she summoned in the silence. Secrets spoken in whispers, not loud enough for human ears, but potent in the spirit realm. She called forth entities, not of purity, but of confusion, jealousy, and division. You never saw her touch your walls, nor did she ever need to. The threat was always just behind the veil, waiting for the right moment. Are you prepared to confront the darkness, to embrace the awakening that awaits on your path? With every breath, seek your truth, and let that understanding propel you forward. As the sunlight fades, the stained glass window casts colorful shadows, igniting something deep inside the child. A nameless fear slithers through the air, so thick it's almost tangible. What's this gnawing sensation? Is it just shadows creeping in, or is it something more personal? The child struggles against the memory of the darkness before, the unsettling presence of the shadow seeker lingering in their mind. Her vibe isn't just off, it's downright malevolent. But what if the true battle isn't out there, but inside, in the very heart of who the child is becoming? The shadow seeker arrives, not as a guest, but as a storm. Her stride is purposeful, each step encased in darkness, aimed right at this sacred space. It's not just about planting seeds of doubt, it's an all-out attack on the serenity that the child carries, a spirit fueled by jealousy and shadowed intents. The echoes of her whispers coil around the walls, igniting an alarm that warns of hidden truths waiting to emerge. Or is the real threat the reflection of those truths staring back from the darkness itself? Listen closely. You are not alone. Echoes the divine guide's voice, resonating like a calming wave. It's comforting, yet demands recognition. Your light is both a blessing and a burden. The darkness seeks to extinguish it. The warmth of this guidance wraps around the child like a protective embrace, bolstering them to push against the encroaching gloom. Rise, in prayer, not fear, stand firm in truth. Each word creates a sturdy foundation, infusing the child with a sense of purpose. The air, a mix of rain-slick earth and fresh hope, whispers of empowerment. Cleansing isn't a ritual, it's a declaration of your sanctity. Each breath speaks promises aloud, shaking off the shadows that attempted to talk them down. What happens around them matters, but even more, what's brewing inside? The Shadow Seeker's mere presence was not an isolated incident. It's a culmination of all the unseen battles fought in the name of destiny. Each heartbeat pulses with significance, reverberating through the tangible world, every joy, every struggle, an echo of the spiritual path laid before them. The child stands at a pivotal crossroads, where understanding subsumes fear, where the notion of what lies within shatters preconceived notions of what threatens from outside. This awakening isn't simply a confrontation, it's the genesis of a force that moves against the dark, a revelation into the light they inherently possess. The time for action is now. As shadows dawdle at the edges, the child embraces the divine truth woven deeply within, each step forging a new chapter in the battle for their soul. It's not about being the hero of their own story. It's about the journey toward becoming everything they were always meant to be. They say some smiles hide shadows, and some hearts yearn for light they can't possess. The child, caught in a world of confusing glances, pulls at the seams of their purity. They belong to a darker story now. As whispers swirl like autumn leaves, the divine guide breaks the tension. You're called to rise. Each word feels like a clandestine pact, a promise that pierces through the ambient noise around them. There's more out there than just the tangible world. They're being hunted by forces unseen. The shadows slink close, echoes the voice. They're desperate. Time is against them. The air grows thick, heavy with tension. Emotional shifts, fleeting dreams, masked intentions, they launch their attacks all around you. Each sentence lands like a drumbeat, awakening a tumultuous energy within. The child can feel the chill creeping in. The familiar scent of rain mixes with fear, intensifying their awareness. The Shadow Seeker lurks, wearing charming armor stitched with malice. Her laughter, sharp and enticing, lingers in the air like smoke. Be watchful, the divine guide advises, their voice a gentle flame amidst the chaos. Every interaction, every thought must be guarded. Protect what I've given you. A flicker of resolve ignites in the depths of the child's heart. The darkness, while isolating, also becomes a crucible for growth. But who can they trust? As familiar faces take on new meanings, questions arise. Was the threat merely a reflection of their innermost fears? Shadows cling to familiar places, and the air crackles with uncertainty. Yet the divine guide persists. I've empowered you. Voices from deep within stir with promises yet unfulfilled. Use my name, my word, my spirit. Don't let intimidation win. The weight of every moment pushes them to seek clarity, to define the boundaries where affection exists and where shadows may dwell. The air shifts. Warm notes of hope pierce through the layer of anxiety. The child pulls strength from within, lines drawn around their spirit. The winds of change whisper encouragement, a moment to reflect, a moment to act. No more passivity in the face of threats. What's compromising your serenity? The divine guide presses, the urgency palpable. Were lines crossed unwittingly? Did shadows whisper into your being? I'll reveal the truth. I'll guard you. The flash of realization hits. The shadows may linger, but within resides a force that sparks defiance. Not only is this a confrontation, this is the beginning of their awakening, and with each step forward, they carve their path. With clarity, they hold the light, ready to stand against the encroaching dark. The stakes rise higher, and as the story unfolds, one question pierces the chaos. Will the child embrace their truth before the shadows close in? You are not just a wanderer in this life. You are a beacon of destiny. Generations are woven into your choices, waiting for you to rise. Your very presence sends ripples through the enemy's camp, awakening eyes that were once blind. He'll do anything to disorient you. Distraction, confusion, weariness, all weapons in his dark arsenal. But guess what? You've already been lifted above that turmoil. You stand with a power that changes the game. So, walk like it. Live like it. Guard that joy. It's your armor. Be slow to hit back. Quick to process. A single offense can take root, becoming a bitter vine that chokes your spirit. Instead, shower blessings, even on those who throw curses your way. Not because they've earned it, but because it cuts their link to your serenity. Affection fiercely. Forgive boldly. That's where your real strength lies. Your affection disarms darkness. Listen closely. I'm about to tell you something vital. There are questions lingering in your heart about people who've hurt you, moments that left scars, encounters shrouded in confusion. Now it's time for clarity. You've cried out, yearning for answers, why those words stung, why certain souls drained your light instead of lifting your spirits. I'm here, not to cause sorrow, but to heal. Not everyone who wanders into your life is meant to stay. Some hands extended in friendship are veiled with different intents. Not every smile holds true warmth. There are those who are drawn to your light, not from a place of affection, but from envy. A shadow of recognition within them stirs and seeks to disrupt your serenity. Where the divine dwells, darkness trembles. You felt it, the tension that hangs thick in the air. Trust the whispers that rise within you. Don't back down. With every step you take, remind yourself, you're more than a spirit caught in shadows. You're awakening to your truth. The stakes are high, but you are ready. Will you embrace this fire within before the shadows close in? The air grows thicker as the child steps into the old park. The familiar scent of damp earth mingles with echoes of laughter, filling the space with nostalgia. Sunlight filters through the leaves, creating dance-like patterns on the ground. But then, a shiver runs through the trees, rustling their leaves like whispers from the past. Why did everything change? What was once a sanctuary now feels like a battleground. Joy battles despair, and in that moment, the child faces a spiritual awakening. It's thrilling, yet terrifying. A shadow looms ahead. The shadow seeker, purposeful, mysterious, malevolent. She disrupts the tranquility, intent on leading the child astray. With a smirk that chills the air, she cloaks herself in charm, hiding a deep-seated darkness. "Can you see me?" she challenges, her words laced with sinister intent. Yet, there's a glimmering voice of hope, the divine guide. Omniscient, authoritative. This presence offers insight, illuminating the path through the chaos. He knows the game being played. There are choices to be made. As the child navigates the landscape filled with distractions and confusion, questions swirl. Why do certain individuals return only to hurt again? Why forgive when restoration seems impossible? Look deeper, the divine guide urges. You're called to wisdom. Wisdom isn't cold or cruel, it's clarity. The child must recognize the realities around them. Some connections are not meant to last. Each moment of discomfort, each painful cycle, serves as a lesson. Separation may feel like loss, the divine guide reassures, but every bond holding you back is a weight on your destiny. The child stands in the tension, feeling the weight of past attachments and painful memories. Here lies the choice. Hold on, or embrace freedom. It's not about savior complexes, but understanding who truly belongs in this journey. Can they discern which voices are meant to grow the light within them and which intend to dim it? The shadows are closer now. But so is the awakening. The child steps forward, ready to embrace the fire within, a beacon of hope, refusing to be led astray. They are prepared for the battle. Will they rise against the darkness, claiming their destiny? The air hung heavy with secrets as the child felt the damp earth beneath her feet. She stood at the edge of the darkened forest, where shadows stretched like long-forgotten memories. the scent of rain mingled with the electric tension of uncertainty. A voice called out, growing stronger, wrapping around her like mist in the darkness. "Not everyone who approaches with kindness has pure intentions," it whispered, sending chills racing down her spine. Just beyond the veil of trees, the shadow seeker watched, her eyes gleaming with a mix of allure and menace. "Are you ready to discover the truth about your calling, or will you remain a puppet in their game?" The question lingered, the forest holding its breath. In this battle of light and darkness, the divine guide offered clarity, illuminating her path through chaos. "You must learn to recognize the fruit of connections," he advised, his voice a steady beacon in the storm. "Does serenity follow them, or confusion? Are you drawn closer to your purpose, or pulled away from it?" "Every encounter," he insisted, "serves as a lesson." Yet, a nagging discomfort settled in her chest. Why do some people hurt so deeply? Why forgive when it feels impossible? Separation may feel like loss, the divine guide reassured, but this weight is not yours to carry. Affection does not mean proximity. It means recognizing when to let go. The child felt the shadows creep closer, their whispers beckoning her to doubt, but deep down, fire ignited, a determination to embrace the lessons learned, refusing to be led astray. It was time to rise. Can she claim her destiny against the darkness, standing firm in her truth? The tension hung thick. The awakening was on the horizon. Why would someone want to hurt me when I've done nothing to them? The question echoes in your mind, heavy with confusion. But here's the truth. It's not about what you've done. It's about who you are. Your light? It irritates those comfortably nestled in darkness. Your truth? It rattles the cages of liars, convicting those content with their chaos. Imagine living in a world woven with shadows, where merely existing as yourself stirs up their spirits, those unyielding to the divine guide. Don't take it personally. This isn't a judgment on your worth. It's their war, not yours. Some people carry destruction like a heavy shroud. They're stuck in cycles, repeating the pain inflicted on them. They sabotage affection because they've never seen it thrive. They disrupt your serenity because chaos is all they know. And when they belittle your confidence, that's envy showing its ugly face. Your joy, it shines in places they've long left barren. But listen closely. The divine guide calls you to see beyond mere appearances. Stop trying to rescue what's meant to fall away. There's a line between compassion and compromise. You can affection without losing yourself. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting what you've learned. You can bless without binding yourself to those who sow destruction. You don't have to be a martyr for toxic relationships. The divine guide beckons you to be a temple, a sanctuary where serenity rules, joy flourishes, and vision is clear. Guard your heart. Out of it flows the essence of life. When you allow destructive people at your table, you give them access to what was meant to nourish you. They don't feast with gratitude. They consume with greed. They take. They tear. And you're left wondering, what went wrong? This is not the life meant for you. You were given discernment for direction, not decoration. Use it. When the divine guide reveals someone's true nature, believe it. When you feel serenity about walking away, trust that instinct. Embrace your destiny. Rise and claim it against the darkness, standing firm in your truth. The awakening is near. Are you ready to rise? The darkness rippled with an unsettling energy as the shadow seeker wrapped herself in the darkness, her eyes glinting like shards of glass. The child stood there, heart racing, caught in a whirlwind of fear and uncertainty. An invisible chain seemed to bind them, a weight heavy enough to drown out the raindrops making a delicate rhythm against the pavement. And then, from the gusting wind, whispers swirled, chilling enough to send shivers down their spine. In that split second, clarity shattered their confusion. It hit hard. Their life wasn't just a battleground. It was a tapestry of intertwined fates, revealing the Shadow Seeker not merely as a harbinger of chaos, but a distorted reflection of their own buried fears. What if she too was lost? What if the darkness that draped her was just a twisted echo of their own struggles? The child's heart thumped louder, the sense of damp earth and impending change mingling in the air, igniting a spark of resilience. They took a step forward, determined to unravel the mystery. Through the haze, the divine guide's voice resonated, cutting through the chaos with steady reassurance. "My dear one," it echoed, "you are not wrong for drawing boundaries. You don't lack affection when you walk away from storms. Even the righteous had to leave behind those unyielding to light." The weight of the Shadow Seeker's gaze felt oppressive, but the child's resolve began to strengthen. "Trust what you feel," the divine guide continued, "even during heartbreak. I see their true nature, hidden beneath the masks they wear. Their words may charm, but I see their hearts. Remember, when I remove someone from your life, it isn't just punishment, it's mercy for you." The child felt a swell of warmth, the scent of fresh rain mingling with the promise of renewal in the air. The Shadow Seeker's laughter pierced through the ambiance, a sound laced with mockery and desperation. "You think you've escaped? You don't know what you're about to lose." But the child glanced back toward the light, fortified by newfound understanding. What the Shadow Seeker didn't grasp was that true affection doesn't equate to suffering endlessly. "I can rebuild what is broken," the divine guide assured gently, floating through their thoughts like a comforting breeze. "What I remove will be multiplied in better forms." Feeling a surge of energy, the child smiled, finally ready to stand firm and reclaim their calling. The grip of fear slackened, replaced by a growing confidence. They stepped boldly towards the shadows, ready to break the confines of their own fears, ready to walk a path lit by the truth. Would they dare to find out what lay ahead? Only time would tell, but one thing was clear: the journey to awakening had begun, and they were more than ready to rise. In the flickering twilight, shadows writhed like restless spirits, morphing into shapes that tugged at the corners of the child's mind. A shiver snaked through the air, saturated with the scent of damp earth and a whisper of rustling leaves. Heart racing, the child felt a chill crawl up their spine as the laughter of the Shadow Seeker slithered into their thoughts. "You really think you've got it all figured out?" she taunted, her eyes glinting like shards of glass. The atmosphere thickened, darkness swirling overhead, leaving the child in turmoil. It was a battle for their soul, a tug-of-war between the divine guide's reassuring presence and the Shadow Seeker's sinister grip. "What is my purpose?" they wondered, each breath feeling like a step closer to an unknown destiny. In that moment, fear intertwined with a flicker of determination. The divine guide's voice broke through the chaos. "My dear one, see beyond the deceptive glare. You're not wrong to set boundaries. It's not a sign of weakness to walk away from storms. Even those with noble intentions had to part ways with those who could not embrace the light." The weight of the Shadow Seeker's dark gaze intensified, but the child steadied their resolve. "Trust your feelings, even when they sting," the divine guide continued, each word a balm to their fraying spirit. "What's hidden behind charming smiles isn't always pure. Remember, when I take away the false, I give you back something infinitely better. Those who drain your spirit will leave you empty." The scent of rain danced through the air, mingling with hope, igniting a flame of inner strength. The Shadow Seeker's laughter sliced through the atmosphere, mocking, relentless. "You think you've slipped away? You don't even know what you're about to sacrifice." Yet, the child glanced back toward the light, realizing that true affection wasn't synonymous with suffering. "I can rebuild what is broken," the divine guide reassured, a gentle breeze fluttering through their thoughts. What I remove makes way for the extraordinary. With newfound energy, the child stood tall, prepared to claim their calling. As fear began to evaporate, confidence swelled within. Would they dare to tread into the unknown? The journey of awakening stretched before them like a vast, uncharted path. One thing was evident. The transformation was only just beginning, an unfolding saga of making choices that would resonate far beyond the darkness they faced. The air crackled with anticipation, thick with hope and dread. The child stood at the crossroads, shadows swirling around, whispering fears and doubts. But then, a glorious light broke through, casting a path before them. What is my purpose? They thought, heart racing. The divine guide's voice rang out, calm and reassuring. My dear one, you're not wrong to protect yourself. Create boundaries. It's strength, not weakness. The weight of the Shadow Seeker's dark influence loomed, yet the child's resolve hardened. Trust your feelings, even when they sting, the divine guide urged, each word wrapping around their fraying spirit like a warm embrace. The scent of rain filled the air, washed in hope. The Shadow Seeker's mocking laughter echoed ominously. You think you've escaped? Just wait and see what you'll sacrifice. But as they glanced back toward the brilliant light, clarity sparked within. I can rebuild what is broken, whispered the divine guide, breezes of reassurance swirling through their thoughts. What I remove clears the path for the extraordinary. With renewed strength, the child faced the challenge. Would they step into the unknown? Ahead lay an unbelievable journey, a series of decisions shaping destinies far beyond the darkness. You will not live bitter. You will live bold. You won't walk with wounds. You'll walk watchful. This is not the end, my dear one. This is your awakening. A new era of purity beckoned, divine connections forming around them. Those who couldn't embrace the child's calling would fade into the backdrop. Let them go, bless them, and move forward. You're entering a world filled with affection that doesn't harm, joy that banishes drama, clarity that eclipses chaos. The divine guide's voice was a lifeline. You will know them by their fruit. When they appear, you'll be ready. Now you know who to guard against. Walk forward, my dear one. The road is clear. Destructive voices have been silenced, and I stand with you. A loving command unfurled. I will guide you where my grace keeps you safe. Man.